Hello, this is Lazarus at Telecom Tech, where telecom and networking technologies are simply explained. Today, we'll be simply explaining the BGP MED attribute. MED is short for Multi Exit Discriminator. Sometimes it's simply called the metric, which is not strictly correct and can be misleading because unlike IGPs, BGP does not use a metric, it uses attributes. So what is MED? MED is simply a value that is used by an AS to inform neighboring ASs of how to reach its internal networks. Specifically, when there are multiple entry points into the local AS, it informs the neighboring ASs of which entry point is preferable. Let's take a look at this diagram to clarify. AS100 here has two entry points, via R1 and via R2. Both R1 and R2 maintain an eBGP peering with R3 in AS160. Now, if this internet host attempts to reach the web server at 20.20.20.10, which path will it take? What routing has BGP established, via R1 or via R2? Well, let's take a look at the BGP table of R3 and see what default behavior we'll have if we don't adjust any BGP attributes at all. We can see here that the path via R1 has been chosen as the best path. Now, in fact, the tiebreaker here is the lowest router ID. The lowest router ID is an attribute that exists at the very end of the BGP best path algorithm. Actually, it's the second to last attribute that's checked. What is the value of the MED for these two entries? Well, we can see it here under the heading metric. Like I said before, this is not a very good term to use, but there it is. Just keep in mind that the metric here is actually the value of the MED. Now let's say that we are the administrators of AS100 and we want to influence how AS160 sends traffic into our AS. Let's say we want to cause all traffic to come into AS100 via R2 and not via R1. We can achieve this using MED. Remember, the lower the MED value, the higher the priority. Now let's go into R1 and create what is known as a route map to change the MED of the advertised routes. First, we start by creating a route map, and we'll call it MED, and we can use a set command to set the value of MED to a value of 100. Then we apply the route map to the peering with neighbor 3.3.3.3, which is R3. The result is that all advertised routes sent out of R1 to R3 will set the MED to a value of 100. Now let's take a look at how this has changed the BGP table in R3. Now you can see that R2 is now chosen as the next hop. And you can see this from the greater than sign that's indicated on that entry. Why is this the case? Because we see the value of the metric or the MED of R1 has changed to 100. And since R2's MED is lower, it's preferred. Now there are some things you should keep in mind about the MED value. MED is an optional, non-transitive attribute, which means that it doesn't have to be included in BGP updates. And it's not propagated from AS to AS. It's only locally significant between the local ASs involved in the exchange. Secondly, the MED is something that's exchanged between eBGP peers. It has no meaning as far as iBGP peering goes. It's only used for routing decisions between eBGP peers. Now, there are ways to force iBGP peering to use MED, but this is considered a non-standard behavior and it's beyond the scope of this video. Finally, MED is one of those attributes that can be used to influence incoming traffic. However, keep in mind that the administrator of the AS you are interfacing with can always override any MED values you send. So it's always best practice to discuss your intentions for BGP routing with your counterparts in the other ASs before configuring any changes to the MED. Any adjustments to this value may actually be viewed as a hostile act by the administrators of the other AS if it hasn't been discussed beforehand. So that's the MED attribute and how it's used in the BGP best path algorithm. I hope you found this video useful, and if you have, please click that thumbs up button. If you'd like me to address other related topics, feel free to let me know in the comments below. And please subscribe to get updates to newly published videos. I'm Lazarus at Telecom Tech. I hope this has been helpful for you, and I'd like to thank you for watching.